Hello, Jakub here. Long time no see. Today I will show you how to plan the dive in our Divesoft app. Today I would like to introduce you to its new feature of a nifty dive planner. There are several advanced dive planners on the web, but their advanced features are mostly chargeable. Our Divesoft app has a very advanced recreational and technical dive planner built into it, with which you can plan open and closed circuit dives with absolutely no limitations. This planner contains several innovative features that you won't find anywhere else. It is a very powerful tool, but has an unconventional way of operating for some. But once I show you how to use it, you won't want to use any other. Let's open the Divesoft app. Here we are. And first of all, we have to look at settings because it's very important for the planner itself. It has gained significantly with the addition of the planner. Here you can find not only the general settings of the application, but such as the account and the units used, but also all the settings of the planner for CCR and open circuit. Before we start setting the parameters for planning, we set the units we will use. I'm used to using metric units in Europe, so I have set up meters for depth, bars for pressure, Celsius for temperature, kilogram for mass, but you can all set it in imperial as well. But for me, it's better to have it like that. Now let's go to the planner settings. Let's start by setting the open circuit. So we can switch the button here. This is for CCR, this is for open circuit. Here we define our surface gas consumption. We have different surface air consumption for bottom and for deco. We can have different partial pressure for bottom and for deco as well. We can set ascent rate zones. We have 3 different zones from the bottom here to the 80 meters. You can change that, let's say to 100, 1100. And the next zone is from 100 to 10 meters and from 10 meters to the surface. We can change the rates here, 10 meters per minute, and the last part we can set to, for example, 6 meters per minute or even slower. So let's have it like that. We can set also the descent rate, 20 meters per minute, or who wants to go faster. This is for prevention of HPNS, so especially for very deep dives. But I think that 20 meters per minute is all right. So now we have their gradient factors. We can set the standard gradient factors, which we use for the standard profile. You can set what are you used to. So for example, in my case, 40, 75, or you can be even more aggressive, or it's better to be more conservative. So I keep it at 75. But we have here bailout gradient factors. Bailout gradient factors are for case if you need to start ascent quickly. We define it specifically for CCR bailout situations. Equivalent narcotic depth, it defines the usable gas in particular depth. So 30 meters is equivalent narcotic depth which we commonly use. Oxygen is narcotic. You have options here. You can set yes or no. No for me. We can choose 2 different algorithms for decompression planning. The B is more aggressive than C. So I recommend to use the ZHL16C Bielmann algorithm. Then you have a salinity. It depends where you plan your dive, in a freshwater or seawater, or you can have the standard 13-31-9, which is universal salinity close to salt water. Last stop depth, we can use 2 meters for some mountain areas, 3 meters, which is a standard, or 6 meters when there's a rough sea, or even 9 meters if you need it. I will keep it for 6 meters. We can have deco steps divided by 2 meters, 3 meters, or even 6 meters. The standard is, of course, 3 meter steps. And pressure is the pressure I want to have left as a reserve after surfacing. Set the value of this pressure according to the dive plan and its purpose, conditions, additional gas reserves, and other circumstances. So now let's have a look at the CCR part of the settings. Of course, we have here the set points. So we have the descent set point. That's the one which we use for the descent part of the dive. It's usually the low set point. So then we have the set point which we use on the bottom. It can be the high set point, and we have the deco set point. So you can set 3 different set points for every part of the dive. Now you can see that we have here a different sec rates for CCR. Of course, because with CCR we use sec rate only if there is an emergency situation and we switch to bailout. In such a situation, we have a very high sec rate. For that reason, we set it here to 50 liters per minute. And it's not a mistake. You can have a much higher sec rate in case of hypercapnia. So 50 liters per minute is definitely not too much conservative. But you can define for how long you will use this high sec rate. And this is the stress time. You can see here, this stress time I set to 10 minutes. So for 10 minutes, the plan will use 50 liters per minute. But once I will calm down, the sec deco will be used, and I set it to 25 liters per minute. Here I have the problem solving time, which is added to the bottom time in case of emergency to the bailout plan. Loop volume here is used for calculation of diluent consumption. So for Liberty, let's keep there 10 liters, but set it according to your rebreather. So metabolic consumption. Metabolic consumption here is, of course, for oxygen consumption set to 1.5. I recommend it. The metabolic consumption is usually much lower, but we have to count with some other wasting of the gas when you exhale it to the water. So we keep 1.5. The rest of the planner is the same as we set it for the open circuit. So you don't need to set it again. It's preset already. So it depends which type of the dive you will do. You set CCR or open circuit. But it's important to know that open circuit bailout is already built in the CCR planning. So now there is a very important part of settings, which is the gas setting. You can think of it as a gas mixture storage. So that's the gases you really have in your warehouse, in your house. So it's very common that CCR divers use the same cylinders with the same mixtures. So you can always find it here, and it's much better, much easier for the planning. Of course, for CCR diving, we have here the oxygen. We can set the volume of your cylinder, the initial pressure, and that's it. The same for the diluent. So the common diluent, we have air, but we can change it for anything else. Then we can edit the gases here, especially the PO2 limit. So if I want to use it with 1.6 bar, I can change the mixture. Oxygen is 100%, it's all correct. But for example, here, the volume I will use the aluminum 40, which is 5.5, and pressure I can have a little bit more, 220 bar in the cylinder, which is exactly what I have in my personal oxygen tank. I can set also the nitrox 50. My tank is aluminum 80, which is 11.2 liters. I have there also a little bit more, 220 bars, 50% of oxygen, and I will use it with 1.6 bar. That's it. I already have it here. And the next, for example, travel gas, I carry in the 12-liter cylinder, so I can keep the volume. I change the pressure for 230 bar, 32% of the oxygen, and I can add a bit of helium. I have 3230 as a travel gas, and I will use it as with a 1.6 as well. This limit affects the depth from which it is used, so pay attention to it as well. I can have air, set it to 1.6. The same here, I just use 230 bar. I pressurize my tanks a little bit more, and the pressure again with 1.6, 1845. So, and I can continue like that with all the gases and prepare the gases for the dive itself. I have them in the storage now. All right, so we set everything we need, and now let's finally take a look at the planner itself. So open the planner, and we don't have any plans here. We have to press the red plus button, and we can rename the plan. So, for example, we can make a plan for my home reef, which is Borek Quarry, and we will dive with open circuit. The depth in that quarry is 30 meters, so I change it to 30 meters. Bottom time I will set for 40 minutes. Altitude, this quarry is about 450 meters above sea level. I will not use the oxygen here, so I will untick it, and I will choose my air cylinder. So start planning. I can see the dive profile here with a ceiling, but you can see that the gas management is lighting red, so something is wrong. This cylinder is actually not enough. I have to add a bit of gas, so I will hold it and I can adjust it. So I will take my doubles, 24 liters, 230 bar. Okay, let's have a look if it's enough. It is still not enough because the end pressure is 1 bar. So what we can do is to add another cylinder. Let's to add nitrox 50. I have it prepared from the settings here, and now it is enough. Above the profile, we have the white line, which represents the air consumption, and the green part, which represents the nitrox consumption. We can see also the used amount of the gas. In case of air, it is 143 bar. So at the end, we have 87 bar in the cylinder. And in nitrox, we use 78 bar and 142 bar left in the cylinder. If you want to plan a multi-level dive, there is the option. Add point button and then click into the profile somewhere, and it creates a new point and recalculates deco for you. You can adjust the point, so you can hold the point and move it. Look at the rulers. It will set it perfectly, exactly where you want it. But you can adjust it also by numbers. So you can, let's say, change it for 5 minutes in depth of 25 meters. So you have it precisely where you want to have it. You can add another point. And change it again, so we can have this stop for 10 minutes again at the same depth, 25 meters. So we have a very nice profile. We just check if our gas management is still okay, and it is, so that was a very successful plan. We can keep it here as a planned profile. We can always open it and look at it again. We have another nice feature here, which is a profile card. I will open the profile card and I can see the whole dive here. So I can see the depth is 30 meters. The diagonal arrow shows that is the descent. The stop is for 2 minutes because the descent is 2 minutes to 30 meters with set descent rate. Run time 2 minutes and so on. We will stop at 30 meters for 38 minutes. So the run time is 40 minutes. That's the set bottom time we set on the beginning of the settings. Then we have another point, 25 meters, 5 minutes of the stop time, so the run time is 45 minutes. And the end of the bottom time is at 25 meters for 10 minutes, so run time 55 minutes. So then the ascent starts, and our first point is at 21 meters, where we switch to our Nitrox 50. We can see the ascent to 12 meters, it takes 1 minute, and so on. So we have all stops here and up to the 6 meters. So we have all plan here. You can print this profile as well. So tap on the print button. Now it's creating the PDF, and you can open it in your desired application, and you can print it on your printer. So now we can plan another dive, and it will be to my favorite wreck, Maris. So I name it as a Maris. I will use my Divesoft Liberty, so we plan it as a CCR dive. There is a depth of 75 meters, and we will stay there for 30 minutes. Be very nice dive. Altitude is 0 because it's a seawater. We will have onboard oxygen 3 liters. It's all right. Diluent, no. I will not use the air. I will use, for example, 1265. So let's have it like that. I need to add some cylinders. So I will use oxygen cylinder for bailout deco. I can take nitrox 50. I will take 1555 as a bottom mix and 3230 as a treble mix for bailout situation. Let's start planning. Let's have a see if it's enough. It's not. It's still lighting red. We are looking at the profile for CCR, so there is no problem. The problem starts with the bailout. You can switch to the bailout card here, and you can see which gas is not sufficient for this plan. We can have a look inside the gas management card, and we can see that we don't have enough oxygen on the end of the decompression. So let's change the cylinder from 5.5 liters to 11.2. We need to have a bigger tank, but it's still not enough because my bottom cylinder still needs a more pressure. So I need to pressurize it at least to 230 bar. Here you can see how effective is the planning with the high sec rate in the depth, because it's really realistic. If you have a problem, it's really in the depth, not in the shallow. So here you can see the realistic amount of gas you really need. So now I have the nice plan. I need 4 gases for such a dive, and I know it will be safe. I will show you another nice feature of this planner. If you move it to the horizontal position, you can see the profile in much better details, and you can also zoom. So if you zoom in horizontal position, you can see the details. You can zoom it in vertical position, and you can reset the zoom as well. You can see that with our planner in Divesoft app, you can plan really challenging dives with basically no limits. You can change all the parameters during the planning process and adjust individual circumstances to make the plan safe and feasible in the end. Always keep in mind that the plan should always be true to reality. If you plan something perfectly and then don't follow it, the whole plan is useless and you put yourself at great risk. We would be happy for you to use our planner, and if you have any ideas or comments, drop us a line down in the discussion. We will be happy to answer your questions and try to incorporate good ideas. If you have any further questions, check the links below or email us at info@divesoft.com. Thank you for watching and see you next time.